Okay, the last time we were talking, we had created the brick lines here. We had done the math. We had measured this, divided by the number of bricks, measured and divided this by the number of bricks, connected the top two bricks only, put in two vertical lines, made sure this was wider, this was narrower for our doors, and then we connected the brick lines, but we skipped the doors so we didn't have to erase all those lines out and mess up our paper and make it look all messy. Before we talk about how to finish up the bricks, let's go ahead and talk about the doors first, and then we'll go back and finish the bricks. On these doors, if you want to dress them up a little bit, you can always put a door frame on them. If you put a door frame on it, right here, you want to make a really skinny line. I'm just going to probably do this one. Make sure you butt your ruler up either the top or the bottom, like so. And then you might not, if the bricks stick out a little bit past the door, sometimes you won't see a door frame on here. Sometimes you won't, but we'll go ahead and put one in. We're going to make it just a little wider than this one, not much, but just a little bit. Butt a ruler up at the bottom of the page. Kind of eyeball that a little bit, like so. All right, this one's a little wider than that one, but sometimes you won't even see that door frame because sometimes the brick covers the door frame up and you don't even see it because it sticks out a little bit in front of the door. Now, this part, you got to be really careful about. A lot of people, when they do the door frame top, they just want to take the ruler and make it perfectly parallel to this brick line. Well, you can't do that. If you do, it's going to look just as wide here as it is here, and it's going to look really weird. It's going to look like it's fatter here and skinnier here. So what you got to do is you got to kind of create a fake vanishing point. So take this brick line right here, put your ruler on the brick line that's on the top of the doors. I'll put it above the door so you can see what I'm doing. Create a fake temporary vanishing point like so. Okay, and then this little fake vanishing point we made, a temporary vanishing point. We're not going to use a real one. We're going to put our pencil on here, take the ruler, slide it. See, it's like it's pivoting on this pencil. You're going to take it up to this line, and then you're going to draw it. And by doing that, it makes it look like it's thicker here and narrower here. You may not be able to tell because it's so small on your screen, but it will make a big difference. And if I had wanted to do the same thing over here, I would just simply keep the ruler on the same vanishing point. And remember, this is not a true vanishing point. This is like a temporary vanishing point. But this is so tiny, you literally can't tell the difference down here. And these are going to be insanely skinny because they're really far away. Okay? And again, usually you won't even see that one. You would only see this one because this will be covered up by the bricks. As far as windows go, I'm going to show you two windows. I'm going to show you a rectangular one here because in our school most of them are rectangular, but I will show you how to do a square one. I'm just going to cheat and use the brick lines for that. So I'm going to use this brick line right here. Put my pencil right here. And I'm going to put a little line there. That's going to be the top of my window. And for the bottom of my window, I'm going to make it, I'll make it 3. I line my ruler up with this line, and now I'm just going to take my ruler, butt it up at the bottom, kind of look at my space, bring this line down, bring this line down, clean it up a little bit. I've got a nice little window, a little rectangular window. Now, technically this door will probably have the same kind of window it would. The bottom of it would be here also, and the top of it would be here also. If you want to do a square one, I would just use these two brick lines to kind of help you. If you wanted to do a square one, it's up to you. If you want to make it a rectangle, you can. Just remember, if you do a rectangle, make sure they're the same height. But I'm going to go for a square on this one, kind of in the middle of the door. And I just take my ruler, butt it up at the bottom of the page. And now I've got like a little square window here where I have a rectangular one here. All right, let's talk about door handles for a minute. I'm going to show you how to draw a door handle. One of the biggest things about the door handle is you want to make sure it has the same height. So if the door handle is going to be here, it needs to be in the same place here. Or if you don't want it exactly on the brick line, if you want it in the middle, then what you ought to do is try to find the middle of this spot too, and just make sure it looks like it's kind of level. Because you want all your door handles to be on the same level. So sometimes it's just nice to put it on the brick line, makes it easier. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to draw this larger. If you want to draw this on a separate piece of paper just to practice it and then put it on here because it's easier to draw it big than it is small, that might be smart. So every door handle is going to be inside of kind of a, it's going to have like some works that connect to the door, and they're going to be kind of cylindrical. So what I'm going to do is before I make the handle, I'm going to create kind of that round disc that the door handle fits inside of. So I'm going to create an elliptical shape, kind of like this. And then after I make that, I'm going to draw a horizontal line here and a horizontal line here. And this shape curves, right? Well, I'm going to make this the exact same curve as that one. So it's going to kind of look a little bit like a hockey puck, right? Kind of like, you know, a disc, or if you have a can of mints, okay, it's going to kind of look a little bit like that. It's going to, what we know is circular, it's going to look elliptical when it's turned toward us. So it gives us, you know, that kind of shape. Now for the doorknob part, or the handle part, I mean, we're going to have a curve like this. Bring a straight line out. This is going to be the part of the doorknob or handle that comes out. And then in our school, they're not nice round doorknobs. They kind of go away. This door handle is going to kind of go with the flow of the brick lines. It's going to be parallel to that. So I'm just going to kind of make something up here. It's going to angle like this, kind of parallel. It might get a little skinnier here than it is here because it's going away from us. And then I'm going to take this bottom one. I'm going to come up. I'm going to curve it over. If you need to stop and pause that or rewind that, you can. All I did was I took that, went up and over, and then I'm just going to curve it back around like so, and boom. It kind of looks like a door handle, doesn't it? All right. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to try to draw two of them here. They're going to be really tiny. So I think I'm going to start with my little ellipse. My two horizontal lines. I'm going to draw this line here, this little curve. Got it? I'm going to draw two horizontal, well, I'll draw this curve and then these two horizontal lines. And this is going to be really tiny. Really tiny. All right? And then this is, I'm going to angle this with the bricks. It's going this direction. So I'm going to take it in that direction with the bricks. This one's going a higher angle. Then I'm going to take this one, go out a little further than this one, come up and over. So I'm going to go a little further out, up and over. I came back a little bit. I'm going to curve down and come over. Curve down and come over. Curve down, come over. And I can erase away, you know, the lines in there, but that kind of gives me a door handle. And I'm going to do the same thing down here, but it's going to be a lot smaller, and it's going to be so ridiculously tiny that you can't even see it. But I want to make sure it's on the same level as this one. So I'm just going to suggest it, but I'm at least try to get the angles right. Yeah, I can't even see that in detail, but you know, this one I can. All right, so there's a door handle. Now, let's talk about finishing these bricks. What we're going to do is we're going to only do the vertical brick lines only on the odd number first. And the reason why we're going to do that is so we can make it look normal. So what we're going to do is, just like our ceiling tiles got thicker as they came back, well, our bricks are going to get wider, or longer, sorry, longer as they come back. So I'm only going to do the odd row. So I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to butt it up either with the top or bottom of my page. I'm choosing, I'll do the top so you can see that, actually I'll do the bottom. Here's the bottom of the page. I'm butting up my ruler with it. Now I'm going to make a mark with the first one. I'm going to skip the second row, third row, skip the fourth, go to the fifth, skip the next one, do that one, skip that one, and I did that. I only did every other row. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on these same rows. I'm now going to make a full brick. This is like half a brick. So now I'm going to make a full brick. This full brick is going to be kind of a rectangle. I'm going to butt my ruler up down here at the bottom, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to go every other row. And the reason I'm doing this is that this is going to allow me to control the size of my bricks. My bricks need to get a little longer as they come back toward me. Now it's okay to have two back to back that are about the same size, but the third one, if you don't change the size of it, it's going to look really obvious. Now this one I only had to do one because my door gets in the way. Now this one's going to be a little longer. This one's going to be a little tricky. It's really close to my door. Really close to my door, just the way it worked out. And then I just keep on going. Okay. Come over to this one. You get a little bit longer, but not too long. If I get too big too soon, it's not going to look correct. I'm still butting up my ruler, even though you can't see the bottom of my ruler. For the sake of time, I'm going to go a little faster. Again, you can pause and rewind as you need to. Careful, my door handle was there. All right. Come over here. Need this brick to be a little bigger than that one. But I only need to make one of them. Come over here. I'll make this brick a little longer than that one. I only need to make one because my door gets in the way. Now this one's going to be longer. Butt up my ruler at the bottom of the page. Check out my space here and here. Yep, looks even. I want to make sure that my lines aren't leaning. These lines have to be vertical. If they're not vertical, it's going to look like some kind of house that's falling down. And then at the end, I can probably get in one more little line, so I'm going to throw in one little one. I'm coming up on this side just so I have an easier time of getting it. There we go. Now it looks like they're getting smaller to bigger, right? Okay, now the last thing we've got to do, we've got to get the even rows. And the way we do that is we just find, I probably wouldn't do one here because this is like supposed to be half a brick. I probably would just come right here. I'd find the middle in the middle, and I'd make lines every other row in the middle. You just kind of eyeball it. So take your ruler, butt it up with the bottom of your page, like so. Find the middle, butt it up. Look at your space in between your ruler and the lines you're making, and now hit the even rows only. The key to success is making sure the bottom of that ruler is lined up with the edge of your paper. Now one thing's going to be really important is that we will stop after we make these bricks and do not rush to the other side and do the same thing on the other side, because we're going to do something very different to the other side of the wall. So we're going to be doing something different. So don't go in and fill it full of bricks yet, because we've got some special things we're going to do to that side of the wall, and we don't want you to get too far ahead. Now when you're doing your real hallway, it's a good idea to use really light pressure and not use hard pressure like I'm using. I'm using hard pressure for one reason, because this camera is really light and it's really hard to see lines if they're not dark. But it's a good idea for you to start with light lines, and then later on you can go back over some of them and darken them. If you go too dark too soon and you make a really big mistake, you're going to have what we call ghost lines, or sometimes we call them phantom lines, but ghost lines that show up and they're really messy and they make your drawing look not as attractive as it could have. It's okay to make mistakes. We just want to be able to hide the ones we make with art projects. We can learn a lot from mistakes. Sometimes the best things that we do in an artwork come out of a mistake that we've made. It's kind of like what Bob Ross said, right? Like, what, no mistakes, just happy accidents. It's a little bit like that. But sometimes accidents aren't happy. So try to use light pressure, and then go back and darken that pressure after the fact. Alright, we're almost done. Hit the middle of that, butt my ruler for the bottom, kind of check out my space. Yep, that brick and that brick looks even, so I'm going to go every other brick. And we have finished that wall. Do not rush over to this one. We're going to do something totally different with that. But this is the end of the video. Thank you very much, and we will talk to you again soon.